Good morning.
Good morning.
Is the sound better?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm the whisperer. You guys are always having to crank it.
Just jack it up for you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's so good to be here. And no, I have no idea where I am. I'm here today.
You are.
I am present in this moment. Present in this moment. So I'm really excited about the title of this talk, and I'm more excited to hear what it's going to be. You know, usually I'll do a little prep, knowing that it's just going to come through. This time I wasn't even allowed to do that. So I'm excited. But I do know what we are going to do. We're going to start with a prayer to create sacred space for today's sacred talk. So if I could ask everyone to just kind of open your heart, close your eyes. How's the sound? Up higher. Tommy's like, speak up. All right, heart open, eyes closed, feet planted on Mother Earth. Feel the rich soil. As I ask all the divine beings, angels, the saints, all of which we call God, the universe, to enter this space and surround it with love, safety, protection, so that each and every one of us here today can receive a healing through my voice, through the words, through the vibration in the room, through the vibration that you all bring in. You receive and hold and heal only that which is in your highest good. Heal it and feel it in the way that's unique for you. You may all hear a different talk today. All that matters is that you are open to that which is sacred, so that when you leave here, something has moved and shifted in you that is forever within you, that you can share each and every day. And with a deep breath, know that we are all relations and we are here in this moment together. You can slowly open your eyes if you wish. So what is sacred? Some people think it has two meanings. Connection to higher power, God, whoever it is that we hold in that way that works and resonates within us. And the other definition is what is precious to me. What do I hold precious? What do I hold sacred? A space, a person, a thing, a thought, a value. They're not really different, are they? They're different in the dualism in which we think, because we think they have to be separate. My connection to God and that which I hold precious. But that is sacred. The sacred is that awakening in our heart that knows that's what is precious to me is also that which is that connection to my higher self, to God, to my soul. When we separate that is when we have our most struggle and suffering. It's impossible to be in that awakened, high consciousness, mystical state called sacred. You know, it's transcendent, it's mystical, it's magical. It has form, it's formless. When we try to talk to somebody about that moment of sacred, it kind of falls flat. It's ours alone. We feel it, we know it. When we separate that from a thing that has meaning or a person or a value, in that moment we've created the very thing we're trying to not do. So everything within us, around us, is sacred. But how do we live that way? How do we find that sacred within? That's a little bit what today's about. My medicine bundle that came today, because you know it's always a little different, is a sacred item. Indigenous medicine people will carry their medicine in a bundle, holding it sacred so it doesn't get contaminated and travel. In the opening, there is intention for sacred space. As each item is taken out of its home of safety and placed upon the bundle, the altar, usually Mother Earth in some way, so those cloths represent Mother Earth. The intention of each item's sacredness comes forward because it has form, and the human mind can connect to that. And as I hold each item, I know it's medicine. And as a medicine person now, that medicine is part of this room. This building is a sacred building. We drive up, we know we're coming for a spiritual moment. We have intention of a sacred space. we step in here differently than maybe we step into our kitchen. I don't know, I think kitchens are pretty sacred. And what about other spaces that we all know as sacred? Mecca, Jerusalem. When I say those words, does something happen inside? We resonate to a vibration. What makes a sacred space? Well, that's the mystical moment of all of it. The pyramids, they must be sacred because we don't know how they arrived and how they got there. So, okay, we're going to call that sacred. But sometimes we walk into a space and it's just different. Is it our sacredness walking in? Is it the sacredness of the space energetically? Is it those people in the room? Does it matter? Sometimes. If it's something like Mecca or Jerusalem, I know where I'm headed. But it's not always that big. You know, the temples in India, there's so many. Oh my God, there's so many. I was in an area called Kumbakonam. Very small village, 2,000 temples. Beautiful, pink and blue and huge, and statues and reverence and flower garlands everywhere, and its sacredness and the most poverty. I couldn't get it. My human mind couldn't get how is this sacred when people are starving. I couldn't get it. The holy people gave me all kinds of answers, which, we can talk about if we want to. What was most important to me was even in that suffering, the knowing of the sacred, you couldn't mistake it. How can we do that when we have everything? Feeding the gods in the Hindu religion is very important. So you offer offerings, bananas, coconuts, food, and then the Hindu priests give that back to you as prasad, because once the gods have eaten it, it's sacred, and you're to eat it. Well, you're not going to do that in India. You kind of pretend and throw it over your shoulder so you don't get sick, but you take the energy of it. Outside that temple, crippled, starving people, waiting for the prasad. I found out later that they agreed to take on your karma, because that's your karma clearing in that food, so they could eat. And they pray for you when you give them that little bit of leftover food. But it's God's food. Think about that. Amidst that suffering, those moments of sacred, it's possible. Do you feel it in here now? Like, I have goosebumps and my voice is trembling. It's not nerves. I want to cry. Don't know why. So how do we discover the sacred within us? How do we celebrate the sacred within us? Because we're not one being, are we? No. We have multiple values that we hold dear or sacred. They're ours. We have multiple personalities. There's biker chick, there's the rock and roll chick in the shower, there's the minister, there's, wife, mother, daughter. Think of all the different beings within us. Each part of us, each dimension, each unique personality that lives within this one form is sacred. Has connection to our soul. Think about that. Yet we're so busy, always on task. I get it. I don't even know where I live anymore, so I get it. How in that craziness do we hold sacred? Like, who's driving the car today? Is it the gal who found the song on the radio and she's like cranking it up and singing? Is it the one who's so mad and angry about what just happened that she's like road raging? Who's driving? We always hear about staying present, and in being present and awake, sacred unfolds. Yes. How many of us have conquered that? Yeah. How many years have we been studying? Right? Okay, we get it. We get it. But that's not what's driving the bus. The sacred within wants to be heard. The call of our soul wants to be heard in celebration, in cherish. But the uniqueness of humanity is that it's a paradox. Our mind doesn't shut up. The committees, subcommittees, there are subcommittees and all the charters that they have to go through as they're chattering around in our mind with all the tasks we have to do and all the things we've done wrong our whole life and why did that person hurt me? The endless stream of endless blocks our sacred divinity from self. So we need these moments where it's like, okay, I'm carving out Sunday morning. I'm going to go. That's wonderful. We try to share it. How do we hold it? How do we allow that duality to happen, because it's human, and still hold sacred our own sacred? So how do we find it? So as I was speaking about values and thoughts and things that are precious, our connection to higher self and what is the divine, were all of you thinking like what those things were for yourselves? Okay. The first thing we have to do is know it, then we have to discover it, and we have to allow it to emerge. How do we know it? What is the very first thing? Are there some people in here that are pretty disciplined with prayer and meditation? You don't have to show off or anything, just and those that aren't, that want to be, but can't. What if it was as simple as soon as you opened your eyes and you took a breath and you said, I cherish the sacred today? Believe it or not, that's hard. Because the first thing we're thinking is, I gotta brush my teeth. I have to be here on time. What if in that first breath we can remember to say, I cherish the sacred today? So let's take a moment to find the first sacred nugget of image or essence or resonance within you that you can connect to. And we'll go from there. All right? Eyes closed. Deep, deep, deep breath. Feel your entire body. Feel the sacredness of each cell, each molecule. Every breath is not an accident. Every moment has divinity and sacredness in it. We cannot be if that were not true. The scientists now are giving language and form and function to that which was always known. Nothing is an accident. Everything allows us to take a moment and say, yeah, I cherish this. So find your heart space. I'm going to help with that. So just kind of right here in your heart, feel that open, open, open. And if your mind is spinning, that's okay. Your heart will do the work anyway. What is it that you hold most dear, most precious? You're going to get a flood of thoughts. Grab them all. But the first thing that pops into your heart, feel what happens when you bring up the image of that connection. Feel that? Feel that little flutter of a blue butterfly? Blue butterflies have been everywhere around me as I've been trying to prepare this talk. It's a blue butterfly in your heart that flutters in the connection of that which is sacred to you. And just allow that moment. That brief moment will change your brain and change your thoughts, whether you remember it when you leave here or not. Okay? Now, connect to your higher self, higher power, the divine. It's the same, but not. There's a higher vibration that just happened in this room. All of you just got pulled up. Now feel your third eye connect to your heart and that vibration of being pulled up. And know the possibility of having that vibration in you regardless, because it already is. You're just turning the light on. If that feels good or feels different, give me some kind of a sign, a finger, a hand. Now all you have to do is stay there. And what comes through me is going to do more for you. The sound of creation, the sound of ah. And all of you can join me. One more time. Sacred is a connection that is formless and with form, that's mystical and transcendent. It steps over and above all things to a higher vibration. We all have different words. The words are irrelevant. It's this experience that allows one to know that every action is one of the highest of vibrations. Even when we are in our lowest of form and our most suffering, there is purpose for that. When we can keep sacred in our heart, even in the worst pain, we can hold that divinity of sacred and connection in our heart to know we are never alone, no matter how alone we feel. That this moment is always alive, but now more active than ever because it's been initiated in you today. Through the grace of that which is greater than all of us, that I had the privilege to be vessel for today. No matter the suffering, it's okay, it will pass. We are all relation, we are all in this together. So you can open your eyes now. You know, the indigenous people say walk sacred, talk sacred. You see me sign that way. Be sacred, love sacred. It's a reminder. By definition, the most beautiful incarnation ever is humanity. The passion, the sensuality, the smells, the food, the touch, all the pleasure. These are our gifts. And we get so wrapped, all of us, in our task and our hurt and our suffering that we separate it. And we'll have little moments of grace or bliss or what we call sacred. And we forget. We're designed that way. It's not our fault. Boy, I tell you, when I finally got that one, whew, man, it is the greatest gift of all. Yes, of course, hold self-responsible, learn, grow, but the beating and the spinning, that's built in. We are drawn, we are pulled to sacred, we are pulled to high vibration, and we're wired to stay down here. It's an interesting, I don't understand, I try to understand, I read, I listen, I meditate. It has purpose. We have to trust that because we're not alone. Any thought that you have, everybody on the planet's had one day or another, if not all at the same time. We are collective in our own conscious. So we share that, although it doesn't feel that way. Our job, the only way out, used to be through, a little bit. I say the only way out is transcending it. You have to go through a little bit. Do we have to go through as much sludge? I don't think so, not anymore. Because if we can hold on to these kinds of moments and remember them, then the infinite possibility is ours and impossible doesn't exist. Now, it's not always on my time frame. Like, if I want it yesterday, right? We all do. Whatever that is. But to trust in your heart, sacred. To trust in your heart, divine. To be able to do that every time you take a bite of food. You don't have to do the whole big prayer. But wow. Thank you. This is sacred. I mean, look. I think springtime is amazing, right? It looks like everything's been asleep or dead, and then bam, all this color and light. That's us. If we hold it in our heart, we remember that, everything changes. the wiring of our brain changes instantaneously. Most of you understand that if you do gratitude from your heart every day, that your brain wiring changes. We know that if we can feel a moment of true meditation or a true connection of grace, our wiring in our life changes. Our job is to remember. And the way to remember is to know that the sacred lives within you. It's a light. It's a flame. Now let's go back in and find the light. You've already found your sacred. You know your things. Let's go back in, close your eyes. Let's find the eternal flame. Swami Ramalingam in the 1800s turned his body to light, and he lit an eternal flame in the temple before he did, and that flame has kept going all these years later. That flame was to represent the flame in all of us, the flame that is the oneness of our sacred. Do y'all see it? It's just flickering in your heart. You can't not see it. It's right there. It's just putting you with image and visuals. This is a gift from the divine for you today. Whenever things get difficult, find your flame. How do you emerge that flame once you've discovered it? Is to set your phone timer, reminder, calendar, write it down, post it on your forehead. Images or words that will immediately awaken your soul to the moment that which is sacred. All right, you can open your eyes. Did anybody see the movie The Man from Infinity? Anybody see that? Highly recommend it. It's a true story. The young man from India who wanted to go to Cambridge because he kept getting these math formulas. And they wouldn't stop, He finally gets to go to Cambridge and he has notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of formulas. Of course, he didn't have a formal education, so he's being put through all of these tests. And they keep asking him, where did you get these formulas? You don't have proofs. He's like, Parvati put them on my tongue. She puts them on my tongue. Don't you see? Look at my books. He's there for a year, goes back to India, long story short. Today, those notebooks are still in the library in Cambridge, and in those notebooks, they think are some of the formulas for the black hole. From his formulas, so many of what we know today as science started in those little notebooks. From a little boy in Tamil Nadu who was catching formulas in the sky from Parvati. Faith. He never let them shake him. He knew what he knew. Because he had that faith. That trust that what's in his heart is divine. What he hears in his heart and what the flicker is what's sacred. That's how you bring it to emergence. You trust self. You trust your higher self. There is no such thing as I can't ever have that. Sure, like I can't be Marilyn Monroe. I don't think I want to anymore, right? I know where she popped up. I have no idea. No idea. There she was. Sure, those impossibilities. But in the real world, what your heart yearns for won't be those impossibilities. The little girl's dreams of maybe being a rock star, or little boy's dreams. But your soul's true yearnings, those things, they're all possibilities. That's why they're there. They're sacred whispers waiting for you to remember them, cherish them, bring them forward. So as simple as remembering that when I look at Johnny Van Zeelen, he's sacred. When we go into judgment of self and other, there is no sacred. How do we do that? We just remind ourselves. We don't get mad. We don't judge ourselves for judging. Like that works. That never works. Oh, God, I did it again. Sorry. That's it. I know that flame is here. I know that sacred objects and things and values and thoughts and people, all that is precious and all that isn't, is here for me to explore and experience. And in that divinity, we come alive. We come come alive. Can we be alive like this all the time? No, then they put us in the loony bin like we're having a manic episode or something. But we come alive in a way that we yearn for. Doesn't matter if people get it. We don't want to make it a rule like, hey man, you gotta be blissed out. No, it's solid. See? It's a solid bliss of knowing that that flicker of eternal flame and sacred is in me. And anything and everything that I value, cherish, that's precious to me, is. Yeah. Kind of changes it all, doesn't it? Did you feel the vibration with the eye in here? It's pretty powerful. You did it, not me. Because you connected. Because if Parvati can drop formulas onto the tongue of a little boy, all the divine beings, all that which you hold, Jesus, Moses, Buddha, Kuan Yin, string theory, doesn't matter. If it has form for you and that form can awaken your heart, then make sure you're looking at it. I'm holding some today. Because the energy that I know is in here is what I'm connecting to. So it can speak through me for you, because otherwise I wasn't prepared. So let's take a moment and wrap with the eternal sound of Om. Because in sound, that flame gets awakened even more. Crowns open, heart open, feet firmly planted in Mother Earth, and let Father Sky do all that it needs through you. As we wrap and close and tie a bow around all that is sacred for us. All together, please. Again. One more time. We are all relations. Thank you.